Hi, good morning. This is Kelley Hobart from Alpaca Direct, and I'm here with you today enjoying the lovely weather outside. And last week we had some technical difficulties, so I just wanted to make sure before we get started that you can both hear us and see us. So for any of you that are out there, go ahead and let us know if you can hear us and see us, so that we can make sure that you can get in on this wonderful topic that we're talking about today, which is how to weave in our ends as we go. And you remember from last week, I was showing you how to do it with the Weavin Stephen technique. And that uses a knit stitch or stockinette stitch. And then I was messing around trying to figure out how to do it with the purl stitch. And I decided that I would make it a topic for this week. And so first thing I did is use YouTube to kind of research and see what was out there. And I found next to nothing. Nothing would pull up when I typed that into my search data. And so I just started messing around with it by myself. And I kind of figured out a way that we can weave in our ends with both knit stitches and purl stitches. So I thought that would be fun to take a look at that and see what we have. Now, all of you out there, you know that we have little giveaways every week, right, Jim?
Yeah.
And for this last week, it was for some lovely Eco Alpaca, which is by Cascade Yarn Company. And I think that this taupey color was the winner for this last week. So the lucky winner will be able to try this baby alpaca made in Peru.
Tell me what you like about it. It's not dyed. Remember that?
Right. It's Eco Alpaca, so it is not dyed with using chemicals.
So a lot of people don't know about alpaca colors, though.
Oh, yes, and that there are 22 natural colors in alpaca that you can buy that are come straight from the animal. So these are two of them. I love alpaca.
Remember, we used to have white, brown.
Yes, and Rose Gray was our prized little girl, Pokey, and she was a little stinker. She was our feisty little girl, the feistiest of all of our little girls, but she's sure cute. So definitely worth the little extra effort that she gave us.
That was Rose Gray. Right?
Yes. Oh, she's wonderful. So this week I was thinking for prizes, I thought we would try our Bravo alpaca, which is also made in Peru, which is also a worsted weight, and it is totally lovely. And I thought maybe a choice of the charcoal gray or sapphire blue. And you guys choose. And then the lucky winner for next week will get that shipped out in the mail to them. And the way that you choose, you let us know, you post those comments in the comment section. If you're working on a pattern that you particularly like, go ahead and post that in there. It'll get you entered to win. And it also gives me ideas for Technique Tuesdays in the future. And it gives us all ideas for knitting projects. And who doesn't like a new knitting project? I do. I love new knitting projects. So that's totally fantastic. So I wanted to show you my little sample that I have here. And you can see that I had down here on the bottom some stockinette stitch. And I changed colors. And then you can see on the back, they are using the Weavin Stephen method or the up and down method that I like to use. And that is not a scientific name for it. It's just how I remember how to do it, because you lift the tails up high in the air and you knit underneath them, and then you put it down low and it traps the yarn as it goes back and forth. So this one right here is using the up and down method right in there. And then the Weavin Stephen method is right here. Is this right in here, this area. And it just kind of basically what you're doing is wrapping those tails around and around your yarn as you're working along, and it just kind of weaves them in. So all you have to do is take your scissors and cut it after 8 or 10 stitches or so. And then when you come back and your project is all finished, you're finished. You do not have 5 million ends to weave in. God is good. We are happy.
Hey, you know what? You got your wall behind you painted too.
Well, it still needs a second coat. This is a 2-coat paint, and it still needs a second coat. But I had to stop because there's so many other things that I have to work on. And my daughter Lauren is coming to visit on Thursday, so we have been working on that.
And then grandbaby.
Yes, and we've had some other things that we had to work on too. And so yeah, I'm doing the painting in between the other things. It's not a high priority. It is, I do a little here and there.
4,500 square feet. Right?
4,500 square feet that I painted twice. It was a lot of painting, so a lot of early mornings. Actually, I only worked on it about 3 or 4 mornings, I think, so far. But I'm getting there. I'm almost done. I'm at the very tail end of it, and so I'll be excited when I get done. So let's take a look at these lovely little samples that I have here. And I wanted to, for all of you, everyone starts a project, right? And a lot of people do scarves. And you can use these little weave-in methods to weave in your tail when you start knitting. So here I've cast on, I don't know, 10 stitches or so. And then I was thinking, why don't I just show you how easy it is to weave in this tail when you first start knitting, so that you don't have to come back later and weave it in. So I thought that would be a good idea to start with. So here I've used the long tail cast on. Sorry, my needle is caught in between my yarn. And the first thing that you do when you're going to do your weaving in your ends is you just knit 1 stitch, whether you're changing colors or not, and don't grab that little strand of yarn. Did you see how I got this little bit of yarn stuck on there? That does not make it look good. So then what I like to do after I've knit 1 stitch, I like to put my tail in my left hand. And what I do is I insert the needle and I put my needle underneath that tail and I knit it. Then the tail is down here at the bottom below that stitch, and I knit it again. Do you see how the yarn is getting caught right here when I knit that second stitch? So that is my above and below technique. So again, inserting my needle and then putting that tail above, and then not grabbing yourself an extra strand of yarn, put it below and then knit. Do you see how that totally locks it into place very quickly? And then you don't have to come back later. All you have to do is take your scissors, cut the tail off, and you're ready to go. Do you see how it's all woven in here? And it looks good. It doesn't look funky in any way. And so it is a great technique to use. And if you stop and you go, which one do I need to do? Go above or below? Right here, you can see my tail is not getting hooked into the yarn anymore. So I know that I need to insert my needle and put the yarn above to hook it in there again. And then if you see right here, it's going to get hooked again. So just in case you stop in the middle because someone, the phone started ringing or something, that's how you tell if where you are and where you need to be. So I have woven that in all the way across every single one of those stitches. And then all I have to do is cut that tail and it's ready to go. So that is a great method for weaving in your tail when you're first starting a project. So I thought that would be a good thing for you to take a look at. Now, let's see if we can look at this next sample here. And this one, I have 2x2 rib. So by 2x2 rib, I mean 2 knits and 2 purls, right? So let's see how we can weave in. You remember last week, I was just struggling with those purls, going, how do they do that? And then, so I took a little time to figure this out so that you too could learn from what I was trying to learn. So I have cut my yarn that I was knitting with because I want to add a new color. So what I do is I just take my new color and I knit a stitch. Okay, and this next one is a knit stitch, and you can either do the up and down method where you put the tails, not your working yarn, but your tails in that left hand, and I'm just going to pull a little bit. I don't need that long of a tail. I want my 2 tails to be about as long as each other, actually. So I have knit the one stitch, and then what I'm going to do is I insert the needle as if to knit, and I bring those two tails up above my needle, and then I just knit the next stitch. Okay, now you say, we are at a purl stitch. Now what do we do, right? So the first thing that you do is you take your working yarn and you put it through the two needles. So it's in position to be able to purl. Okay, and you see that it's going to lock that purl stitch there. So I am not going to worry about interlocking that purl stitch. It interlocked itself. Do you see how it's interlocked on there? That the yarn is interlocked in there. So now I'm going to bring my working yarn to the back for a second. And we are going to say on this next one, we need to interlock for this purl stitch. So what I want you to do, instead of using the up and down method for this, it doesn't really work. What does work on the Stephen Weavin, if it was a knit stitch, I would come from underneath and bring my yarn up and over. But for a purl stitch, what I want you to do is bring the yarn from the back and over the top, and then just hold it there with your two fingers. And then what I want you to do is bring your working yarn back to the front so it's in position to purl that next stitch. Okay. And then you bring your working yarn to the back. And now it is interlocked. And it will be on this next stitch. I can either do the Stephen Weavin method, where I would bring my tail and bring it up and over, because it's a knit stitch. You see this next stitch that I'm going to be knitting is a knit stitch, and you see how it's interlocking that way? So now watch this next one. I would take my tails and bring them up and over, and then insert my needle and knit. And do you see how it's locked in place again? It's getting caught in place. Now, here we have a purl stitch. We're going to look at the Stephen Weavin method for doing purl stitches. And what you want to do first is, instead of taking these tails from underneath up and over for a knit stitch, we have a purl stitch. So what we're going to do is bring it up over the top and under. Does that make sense, Jim? Mm-hmm. And then we would bring our working yarn back to the front, purl that stitch. Oops. Back. You can tell that I am not the classic knitter. I am a continental knitter, so I'm like a fish out of water with it. I know how to do it. It just doesn't feel, it feels a little bit foreign to me. So again, on this next stitch, we have a purl stitch, and the way we know it's a purl is that bump is there. Instead of going underneath like we would for a knit stitch, we're going to go up and over the top, just like that. And we're going to hold the two tails with my left hand, and then I'm going to bring my working yarn to the front. And I'm going to place this into that purl stitch, and I'm going to purl it. Bring the working yarn back. Now we have a knit stitch. So on the knit stitches, what we do is we come from underneath and bring it up and over. And then we would knit and come from underneath and up and over, and then knit a stitch. And then on the next stitch here is now a purl stitch. So we're going to come from up and over the top, and we're going to bring our working yarn to the front, and we're going to purl. And then we're going to bring our working yarn to the back, and we're going to bring the tails up and over from the back, bring our working yarn to the front, and purl. I think the more that you practice these kind of things, the better that you would, and the faster that you would get at doing it. I plan on doing this from now on so that I can get really fast at it. And this last one, I'm just going to do normal. I don't like to work my weaving in the ends all the way to the edge, because I don't want my tail, if it comes undone, I want it to be back this way a little bit. But you can see on the back here we are, we have that whole strand all the way across woven in, and we've done it with both knits and purl stitches.
That's
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks good from the front. It looks fine. So that's how I figured out how to do both knits and purls. Now, a common pattern that a lot of people like to use is this moss stitch. Let's see if I can grab some of this green yarn back here. I need to cut this off. And on the moss stitch is, if you wanted to change colors, then you would do the same thing. Always starting when you want to change colors, you can cut your yarn that you're currently working with. Sorry, these Knitter's Pride needles have a long cord on them, and they like to spin around in circles. And then I have to kind of chase it. All right. So I'm done with this dark color, and now I wanted to add the light color. And again, I'm working with moss stitch. And always remembering whether it's a Stephen Weavin technique or it's my up and down method that I like to use, whichever works for you is what you should use. But for the purl stitches, I really like the Stephen Weavin method. I could not find a great way to make that the up and down method work without having the strands of yarn show. So on this next one here, we have,
we're on showing here?
This one is changing colors and weaving in again.
Oh, right.
Using, this time it's moss stitch. So we have 2 knits, and now we're going to be making that a purl. And so you have your tails. We'll switch our working yarn to this right hand. And again, the next one is going to be a purl stitch. So instead of coming underneath like you would on Stephen Weavin for a net stitch, you go up and over the top. And then hold that with your left hand. What you want to do kind of is you want to have your yarns that when you're doing this method, tight enough tension. If you're juggling all this and you make the tension really loose, it's not going to make your weaving in ends look any better. It's going to make it look not great, you know? So then I'm going to, this is my working yarn. And then I'll take these tails and go up and over because the next stitch on the moss stitch is a knit stitch. And you guys all notice that when I'm weaving in ends, you only weave in ends on the right side of your work. If you're trying to weave in ends on the wrong side of your work, it's not going to work. It won't work. Because what you'll see is you'll see this on the front of your work. You don't want to see that on the front of your work. It doesn't look too good. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that when you're weaving in your ends, you're doing it from a right-sided row, meaning the good side of your work. So on this next one, it would be a knit stitch. And what do we do for a knit stitch? We bring our tails underneath and up over the top, right? And then we would bring our working yarn. Oh, it's a knit stitch. So we have our working yarn in position in the back. Yep. And then you would just go on and do it like that. And you can see how it's catching again in the back. So you can weave in ends using knits and purls. And you know what I would recommend for you guys? And I'm going to be doing this. I've already said it, but I have committed to myself that whenever I have ends and whenever I'm changing colors, I'm going to start using these techniques all the time because the only way to get good at something is practice, practice, practice. And so I intend to give that a go and start weaving in all my ends doing it that way. And then let you know in a couple months how I like it. If it's turning out, you know, if it's worth the few extra stitches or how it looks, I'll let you know. So let's see if we can figure out for the prize for this week is going to be you guys voting on the dark gray Bravo baby alpaca from Peru or this sapphire colorway.
And that's Coeur d'Alene yarns.
Yes, it's our yarn that we import from Peru. And it's beautiful. And it's completely interchangeable with Cascade yarns. It's the same, basically the same gauge. So if you can't find the colors in one product, you could also go to the other product. And this Eco Alpaca is non-dyed yarn, which I really love. And you said this taupey color was for the winner for this week.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you haven't tried baby alpaca, what I love about it, it's a hollow core fiber. It's one of the warmest fibers in the world. Totally fantastic for knitting hats and stuff like that. Just make sure when you're doing your hats, make them a little more snug than you might ordinarily make a hat, knowing that it's going to relax. And then you will have a hat that you can wear for years and years and years. If you make your alpaca hat really sloppy to start with, then when it relaxes, it's going to get too big. Just, yeah, that's a little hint from me to you, because I have knit 5 million hats in baby alpaca and I have no problem with it. But that's my trick. That's what I do. I knit it a little more snug, and then I love my alpaca hats for years. So another trick for you. Let's see who the winner is for.
Ask them how they were able to see the demonstration. Was the video good?
What was the video for the knitting demonstration to show you how to use the Stephen Weavin on knits and purls? Could you see that video okay? If you could, give us the thumbs up so that we know that we have dialed in our video. Since we've moved to the new building, we want to make sure it's good for you. So, and we want you to be able to learn from all the, little tips. I take a lot of time doing these little Technique Tuesdays every week so that we can learn together. For number one, I love to learn. And then I love sharing with all of you out there so that you can learn too. And maybe it gives you an extra idea. Not all the ideas you'll be able to use, because it might not work for you. You might find that it's too cumbersome, or you like a different way better. That's great. But at least I'm giving you ideas, and you can use them, share them, or maybe you can post your idea of something that you like even better than what I found. That's great too. I love that. So I was thinking that, what are we going to do for this? Yeah, I'll do that. For this next week, I was thinking that I would answer questions on Megan had posted what people would like us to do for future Technique Tuesdays. And I thought maybe I'll go through all those and see if I can answer all those questions for people who
One was on darning heels, remember?
Yeah, on what?
Darning heels. She wants to.
Oh yes, darning heels of socks. That one I'll have to put it on a Technique Tuesday all on its own, because that is takes quite a little while to do it. And I've done one in the past. So for those of you out there who haven't seen my Technique Tuesday on darning socks, I do have one out there that you can take a look at. And I can also do another one too. I don't mind. Whatever works for all of you out there, that'd be great. Let's see who the winner is for this week. Jim?
They said the video was good too.
Yay. Awesome. I'm so glad we figured it out for you. There's nothing worse than trying to learn something and you can't actually see what you're looking at, or you can't hear. That's not good either. On videos where I'm doing YouTube videos, if there's no sound, I go to the next video. Yeah. I mean, that's just what I do. So the winner is Emily Jags. And Emily, you won this beautiful Eco Baby Alpaca imported from Peru by Cascade Yarn Company. And I'm sure that you will enjoy this. All you do is you go to customer service at alpacadirect.com and give us your shipping address, and we'll get it out in the mail to you. And you can try this lovely yarn. These make the best hats ever. I love the Eco Alpaca for hats for snowy weather. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. It makes a very lightweight hat. You don't even feel like you have a hat on your head.
And with people with allergies, a lot of times there's no dye in it.
A lot of people who have allergies to wool can wear alpaca because it does not have lanolin in it. And lanolin is what causes a lot of allergies. So that is something to know. So Emily Jags, congratulations for this lovely baby Eco Alpaca. And for the rest of you out there, go ahead and vote on the color choices for our Bravo baby alpaca that's imported from Peru as well.
What color
is
it?
Charcoal or sapphire.
Charcoal or sapphire?
Yeah, and you guys choose, and then we'll send it out in the mail. We just want you guys to be able to try all these different yarns that we love, and then you'll understand why we love them so much. So you guys have a great week, and I will see you next Tuesday.